Steve, are you going to introduce anybody else after I say, Steve, go ahead and start? You're going to
Nobody's
introduce
volunteering.
others.
Nobody wants to be on.
On your own.
Start pointing fingers. I'm warning you, I got the music.
To the wolves. If I'm going to bring anybody else in, Kurt, I'll announce who they are.
Okay, that sounds great. We're starting to dial out now messages, and then you're going to have a call. You're going to have this start in just about 10 or 15 seconds. Nobody's all home. I'm sure they're all sitting home ready to watch Derek Jeter's last game. Not.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. We're going to be on for the next hour. We're here to answer your questions, and so if you got one of those suckers, please press 0. 0 on the keypad on your phone if you've got a question. That's 0. Otherwise, if you want to provide us your email address so we can provide you email updates from time to time, press 7 so we can get your email address. That's 7 on the keypad on your phone. But we're really looking to have people ask questions if they can. We've got a couple to start just in case, but we really want some people to ask them live if they could. So you press 0, 0 on the keypad on your phone to do that. We've got about 25,000 households that we're dialing out tonight, and we hope you'll all stay on this call. It's going to be there's some pretty interesting stuff to cover. And again, you make it more interesting if you ask questions. You can do that again by pressing 0, 0 on the keypad on your phone. Now, Steve, I'm going to hand this call off to you. And in your opening comments, if you can remind people to press 0 to ask questions, that'd be great. And if they don't, I'll just start blathering on and ask again. So go ahead and take it away if you would, please, Steve.
Are we ready? Do we have people on the line already, Kurt?
We do have a whole bunch.
All right. Great. So for those of you that are joining us tonight, this is Steve Kaminsky of New Hampshire Electric Co-op. You're being called because you're a member of New Hampshire Electric Co-op, so you're all my bosses. And the subject of our conversation tonight is about power supply cost increases. I'm sure you've all heard in the news the last few days about power cost increases announced by a couple of the other companies around New Hampshire. And this is just to let you know that our board also has approved a cost increase as of October 1st. This is to cover the costs, again, of power supply, which is the co-op power line on your bill. What we're looking at, I'll give you the not-so-good news first. What we're looking at is an increase of about 30% for the winter months on the co-op power line on your bill. It will be going up from it's right now 8.97 cents per kilowatt hour, and we'll be increasing that to 11.6 cents a kilowatt hour on October 1st. The impact on an average bill, an average 500 kilowatt hour bill, will be an increase of about $12.47 a month, or 12.2% on an average bill. As I said, we made this decision within the last week or so, last couple of weeks, and in the meantime, other companies have been coming out with their comparable increases for the winter period. And I've seen just in the last day or so an announcement from National Grid for their Massachusetts customers. Their equivalent of our co-op power, the energy portion of their bill, is going up to 16 cents a kilowatt hour compared with our 11.6. And Liberty Utilities here in New Hampshire is going to actually double their current 7.7 cent rate for energy supply up to 15.4 cents. So that is mainly the message that we wanted to give you. The reasons are primarily to do with the situation on natural gas deliveries into New England. I know many of you are aware that there is abundant, relatively cheap natural gas right at New England's doorstep in the Marcellus region of Pennsylvania and New York. And a lot of people are aware now that that should be here helping us out. But what happens is that in the wintertime, as we experienced last winter, quite severely, and a little bit more, not so severely the previous winter, what happens in the winter in New Hampshire is that everybody's trying to use natural gas not only for electric generation, but mainly for heating purposes, causes quite a shortage of capacity on the pipelines that come up from the Marcellus region into New England. to the point where right now, if you go out to buy gas in the Marcellus region, you'll pay about $4 a million BTU. This is for January delivery. Right now, to get that gas delivered into New England in January, it costs about $20 a million BTU. So it's about 4 to 5 times as much as the base price of the commodity that will have to be added on to the cost of generation that will serve loads in New England in the wintertime. I think that's pretty much the long and the short of the story. I think we're gathering questions, and I'd be glad to take questions from any of you that have them.
We have questions up, Steve, and I want to remind people that just got on the call, if you want to ask a question, please press 0. That's 0 on the keypad on your phone. 0 on the keypad on your phone if you have a question. We have some takers on that. Roger started up first, so we're going to take him first. Roger, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Roger, where are you from? What's your question, please?
I'm from Meredith, New Hampshire, and my question is, the price of natural gas right now is at a really low price, relatively speaking. Now, I know it spiked last winter, but is your increase, make sure I understand this, is your increase betting that the price of natural gas is going to be up around $5? Are you betting on the comp? That's what I'm asking.
It's not betting, Roger. Thanks. It's a good question. You're right that the price of natural gas, in fact, over the course of the last couple of months, it's actually been cheaper to get natural gas delivered into New England than what it costs to bring it out of the ground in the Marcellus region. But because of last winter's problems and because everybody knows what the pipeline situation is, the market is pricing in expensive deliveries for this coming winter. And to the point where if you go out right now and buy gas to be delivered into New England for January, it is about $20 a million BTU, about 5 times the base price, which is, as you say, relatively cheap, the base prices.
Let's take another question right away if we can. We're going to take it from Robert. Robert, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Robert, where are you from and what's your question, please?
Sandwich, New Hampshire. Why are we paying for a failed nuclear power plant that's been 20 years while almost everybody else reneges on a commitment?
Well, the answer to that is we are not paying. We're not paying for. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. We're not paying for nuclear plant. We don't own any nuclear plant anymore. We were a participant in the Seabrook nuclear plant until the year 2000, and we sold off our share of the Seabrook nuclear plant. The Seabrook does supply energy into the New England market, and it gets mixed in kind of like in the soup of if we go out and buy power, it's really generic power. It's not from any particular plant for much of the power that we buy. So there's some of it in there, but right now actually the price of energy out of the nuclear power plants is relatively low compared with the other sources in the marketplace. But there is nothing in our bills right now to pay for nuclear power generation, and we do not own any.
That answers that question. Boy, there's some disinformation out there, isn't there? Anyway, let's take Brad. Oh, by the way, if you have a question, like many are doing, press 00 on the keypad on your phone. And what I haven't brought up lately is if you want to provide us your email address so we can send you email updates, press 7. 7 on the keypad on your phone if you want to get email updates. 7 for that, 0 for questions. Brad's next. Brad, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Brad, where are you from, and what's your question?
Orford, and I'm wondering how much energy does NHEC develop with solar means, and what are the plans to increase that amount?
Hi, Brad. Thank you for your question. Right now, we have about 2 megawatts worth of solar panels owned mainly by our members, all by our members, connected to our system. It's getting to the point actually that we're almost up at the cap that's allowed for in the law, the Renewable Portfolio Standard law. So we've had a pretty active interest by our membership in solar panels of their own. The co-op itself, we're looking at some alternatives for kind of larger scale projects that would be shareable, usable for our power supply for all our members, and even perhaps a kind of a community solar model that would allow individual members who can't install solar on their roofs to actually participate directly in a larger project that we would site somewhere on the system.
Let's take another question. By the way, if you have a question for the people that are still joining us, press 00 on the keypad on your phone. Let's take Pamela next. Pamela, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Pamela, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
I'm from Framingham, Mass., but I just moved up here full-time, and I've had a house up here since the 80s. Actually, earlier than that, in the 70s, another house. I'm just wondering, I go away to Florida in the winter for 3 months, as well as some of the ladies up here that I met, and will I still be able to pay like $23 or so a month on vacation because I don't use any electricity then?
Thanks for the question, Pamela. I think you're talking about the member charge on the bill. That's a different line on the bill than the co-op power line that I'm talking about. And it's kind of the equivalent to what other companies call a customer charge. I think that's the terminology that's used in Massachusetts. Yeah, that is the basic, that covers the basic costs that we have just to be able to have lines going to your house and a meter on your house and linemen on board to go out and fix problems when they occur. That is just for basic service, whether there's any usage or not. And we put a higher rate for the member charge into effect several years ago, but at the same time that we put in the higher charge on the member charge, we also reduced the per kilowatt hour charge on the delivery service portion of the bill. So essentially there was no additional cost at the time that we did that. So we're that's going to be there, I'm afraid to say, whether you're here or not.
Let's take another question if we can, but before we do, I want to remind people who are still getting called, if you want to press 0, that's how you get to ask a question. Press 0 on the keypad on your phone. Press 7 if you want to provide us your email address. We have plenty of people standing by to help out on that. Kevin's next. Kevin, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Kevin, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
I am from Plymouth, New Hampshire. I'm disabled. Primarily our heat is electric. Are there going to be any programs available for people to help pay for the increase?
Kevin, I think probably the best resource that I could give you is to call into the office number, which for you in Plymouth would be 536-1800, and speak with one of our Member Solutions representatives. For those of you that aren't in Plymouth and have similar kinds of questions, we have a toll-free number, and I'll give that to you right now slowly. It's 1-800-698-2007. And the folks in our Member Solutions Department are familiar with all of our programs and the opportunities that are available not only through us but through other agencies that can assist you.
Hey, Steve, shout out those numbers again for the one in Plymouth and the 800 number one more time again, please, if you would.
All right. If you're in Plymouth, it's a local call, and the number is 603-536-1800. If you're out of the Plymouth area and it's a toll call for you to call Plymouth, then the best number to use is our toll-free number, 1-800-698-2007, and that works out of state as well.
We're going to take Carmen next if we can. Carmen, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Carmen, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
From Moultonborough, New Hampshire, and I wanted to ask you, you keep referring to the price of gas. What about the price of oil? The price of oil is going down. Isn't that a necessary thing in the utilities?
That's a really good question, Carmen. I'm glad you asked that. Over the course of the last decade or so, there's been a huge turnover in the fleet of electric generation here in New England. It used to be that natural gas supplied something on the order of 15-20% of our energy needs over the course of a year. Right now, that's pushing on 50%. And much of the oil-fired generation has been retired for a couple of reasons. Part of it was that it was uneconomical anymore compared with the low price of natural gas, and part of it is that with new emissions rules coming out of the EPA and so on, the owners of those facilities have had to cut back on their oil generation, and they've shut some plants down. That became a bit of a problem last winter and the winter before, to the point where, because we have trouble with natural gas deliveries and having enough natural gas coming up the pipeline from the Marcellus region, we've come to rely more again on having backup fuel, and oil in particular, to be available for those plants that can burn both fuels. And also for some of the old oil-fired plants, they've been given incentives through the New England marketplace to get themselves back online and prepared to generate during the most critical times of the year, which primarily is the winter time. So that's really an astute question. I appreciate that.
Let's take Brian next if we can. Brian, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Brian, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
I just bought a house up in New Hampshire, but I'm from Rhode Island, and I was wondering if the 30% increase is on the regular monthly bill or just per kilowatt hour.
Hey, Brian, the 30% increase is on only one line on the bill, and that is when you see your bill, you'll see a line that says Co-op Power. If you're buying from us, by the way, Co-op Power is the energy service that we provide as an option. Here in New Hampshire, we have retail competition, and there are other people selling what is the equivalent of Co-op Power, who you can buy from. So this presumes that you're buying your energy from us. So it's 30% on the Co-op Power line on the bill, and then on the total bill, the total average bill is how we try to depict it for most people. About a 500, it's a 500 kilowatt hour bill. The increase will be 12-ish%, 12.2.
So we've had everybody on for quite a bit. We're just dialing some people whose phone was busy before. If you have a question, please press 00 on the keypad on your phone. And if you want to provide us your email address, please press 7. That's 7 on the keypad on your phone. We have people standing by in both instances, but we do have plenty of questions to go through. Max is next. Max, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Max, where are you from? What's your question, please?
Hi, I'm from Moulton Berwyn. Someone earlier kind of touched on my question about the community solar power project. We had received a survey maybe a month or two ago about would we be willing to buy into that. And I wanted to ask about the status of that. And I heard the gentleman who was speaking say that there's a cap in the renewable portfolio standard as to how much solar power we're allowed to generate. Is that did I understand that correctly?
Yep, that's correct. This is Steve Kaminsky again, Max. I appreciate the question. Just to clarify on the community solar project, thank you for answering the survey. We've been trying to gauge the interest of our members in such a project. We are in the analysis and study phase so that we can kind of figure out how the business structure would need to be put together, how much it will cost us, and how we would charge the participants for participating in a community solar project like that. And also looking at the alternative of doing a portion of the project or a different project, just basically as a power supply source that would be part of our mix and not be participated in directly by members. There is a cap in the Renewable Portfolio Standard law. It's a point at which any utility that reaches it has a decision to make as to whether they'll accept more of these solar installations. We call them net metering installations. And the reason that the legislature put that cap in is because with net metering, you get an offset. You basically do not pay for any of the kilowatt hours that you would otherwise purchase from us because your solar generation provides that. And therefore, there's a revenue decrease that we see from those members that have solar panels. That decrease has to be absorbed by the rest of the membership. So the legislature did put a cap on the amount that we're all required to buy under these net metering programs, so that we can kind of take a breather and see, what is the economic impact to us, and whether we'd like to continue adding more net metering installations to the system.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me. Let's take. We have no shortage of questions tonight. Let's keep plugging along here. We'll take Patricia. Patricia, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Patricia, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
I live in Captain on the Romney line. Most of my property is in Romney, but I live in Campton. I just wanted to make the point that my daughter spends some time in California, and she noticed that solar panels there very often cover parking lots of box stores and supermarkets. And I was wondering why we couldn't do that here to give people that need to leave dogs or pets or elderly people or children with another adult in the car while they're up at Boulder Point Hospital or Walmart supermarket.
Steve?
Yep, thanks, Patricia. You're right about California. California had a very aggressive program to incentivize the addition of solar panels all over the state. I think they called it their Million Solar Roofs project. And a lot of the money from taxpayers in California and ratepayers in California went into this program. So there's a lot more extensive deployment of solar panels in California. And in fact, in some of the states around us, in Massachusetts, Massachusetts has a very aggressive program right now, and Vermont is getting quite aggressive. So as you drive around those states, you'll see a lot more solar panels. And as more go in, people get more innovative about where they're installed. One of the things about New England is that we have a lot of snow load that California does not have. So installations on building roofs that weren't designed for the extra weight of solar panels is more of a problem. It has to be accounted for. But I think over time you'll see more of those kinds of installations going into New Hampshire, all of New England as well.
Let's take another question right away if we can. It's David. David, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. David, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
Glen, New Hampshire. My question is, how about taking the advantage of hydroelectric power, which is so much more environmentally advantage? And is that going to involve the Northern Pass? And I'm not up to date on the details of that, but I wonder, I'm very much in favor of hydroelectric power, and how can we get some more of that?
Thank you, David. I think I want to make sure I cover all the bases with you that might have been within what you were trying to ask. And so when people talk about hydropower, there's generally kind of two categories. One is the kind of small stream hydro and small pond hydro that we have already in place pretty extensively around New Hampshire and around New England. And then there's the large hydro that generally gets imported from the north, from Canada. We have a few larger installations in New Hampshire up on the Connecticut River, but really massive scale kind of hydro is really up in Quebec. And we have been importing a lot of power from Quebec ever since the first DC lines went in to bring power down. About 2,000 megawatts is the capacity of that existing line, so it's equivalent to almost 2 Seabrook nuclear plants that we've got the ability to bring in from Canada right now. To bring in more, as some people would propose to do, we would need more transmission lines coming in from Canada. There are several proposals that are being floated about and being explored by developers right now some lines that would pass through Vermont. In New Hampshire, it's the Northern Pass line that's been proposed, and there are others as well. So, yes, I think there's good possibilities that more hydropower will be coming into us from Canada or elsewhere. But right now, I mean, again, we have to build the transmission, and it's going to be a while before which projects are going to be viable that will be decided.
One last ask. I said it before, but I'll say it again. If you have a question, press 0. 0 on the keypad on your phone. 7 if you want to provide your email address. 0 for questions, 7 for emails. Lenny's next. Lenny, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Lenny, where are you from, and what's your question, please? Lenny, welcome. Go ahead. You're up, and where are you from? Lenny has muted himself, so I'll read Lenny's question. What are we getting from windmills? Any power there?
Yes. The state put into effect a renewable portfolio standard that requires all the utilities that supply power and the competitive suppliers that supply power to buy a certain amount of power from renewable resources. And that's the percentage of our entire requirement, the percentage of the entire amount of energy that we supply to you goes up each year that has to be furnished from renewable resources. Right now it's about 8 or 9% of our requirement has to come from renewable resources. We started early to secure some contracts with some wind suppliers. First one was the Lemster Wind Project, which is right in our service territory, and we get the benefits of about 10% of the output of that project. We also, I guess that was actually second. We started out with a small wind project that was developed over in Freedom, New Hampshire. We get 100% of the output out of that project. It's just a little 3-megawatt project, 3 machines. And we have been in negotiations with several other developers. We've got contracts with them. These projects are still not built yet, but they are due to come online in the 2015-2016 period. So we're increasing the amount of power that we'll be getting from wind generation over the course of time.
Let's take another question right away if we can. It's going to be from Susan. Susan, welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Susan, where are you from, and what's your question, please?
Hi, I'm from Canaan, New Hampshire, and thank you for doing this. I did have the same question about the windmills, how it would benefit us as co-op members, which you pretty much answered that. But at the same time, where does the 30% increase come from then?
Thank you, Susan. So I could go on for a couple hours on this one, but I'll try and make it brief. The co-op power line on your bill represents the cost of all the power that we buy, and we buy from a mixture of places. We basically run a diversified portfolio of power purchases. We buy some power directly from developers, and that's largely the case with the renewables projects, wind power in particular, and some hydro. We do some just what we call system power contracts, which we go out and we issue a request for proposals to several suppliers, and we just basically get in on one day a bid for with the lowest. We take the ones with the lowest prices. We do that a couple of times a year, and we vary the portfolio by going out at different times of the year for different lengths of terms. So it's a big mixture of things that's changing all the time that goes into the portfolio. But the 30% increase really comes from what is the most recent prices of power that we've gone out to get on the system power end of things, and also we leave a little bit on the spot market because our load varies from time to time, from hour to hour, and we can't precisely predict what our load's going to be. So we do rely on the ISO New England spot markets for a portion of our load, and we're predicting, we build into the forecast for that power what is going to happen with gas prices going into this winter. And it's priced into the market. You can get market quotes and have a good idea of what is expected.
I was thinking we were supposed to take one more question. It was going to be, but I think we've already done it. So I think we've pretty much come to the end of our time on this call, from what I'm seeing from the staff chat. So if you wouldn't mind, and by the way, if you've got some questions and you didn't get them answered, we apologize. We tried to get to as many as we could. Please leave us a message at the end of this, if you would. We're going to have we have a voicemail that attaches right to the end of this call, and you can leave your name and your phone number and your email address so we have a chance of getting back to you. We can't get back to everybody, but we'll do our best. So leave us that voicemail at the end. And Steve, from what I understand, it's time to bring us to a wrap-up. So if you could, that would be great.
Well, Kurt, I guess one thing that I expected that we'd get to, but we didn't get to it in all the questions, and that is one of the common questions that we get is what can we do to try and mitigate these cost increases that are going to go in this winter. And we do have some. The best thing that anybody can do, of course, is conserve, cut down your usage of electricity the best you can, and put in energy efficiency measures best you can. We do have some information on our website. That's www.nhec.com on energy efficiency measures. And the folks in the Member Solutions Department also can help with the recommendations and to point you to information that can help out. And those numbers, again, are in the Plymouth area, 536-1800, and toll-free everywhere else, 1-800-698-2007.
Well, thank you so much, and we hope to be able to talk to everybody on the next call. Have a fantastic night. Steve, tell everybody good night if you would.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining in. As you can tell, I'm always nervous when I have an audience of thousands of people, so I appreciate you bearing with me and for your interest in taking the call and listening to the message, the not-so-happy message that we had for you tonight.
Thank you, everybody, and good night.